Hello, everybody. It is Bollywood Moms on the Go. I am Robin, and this is my friend Sonia, and we're together again today. Yay! Today, we want to talk about relationship cycles.
So that's a big topic. So we're going to try to make it like as short as possible, but with ideas so you can get a feel of what we're talking and why it's important to have maybe more awareness about it.
Yeah, we really wanted to sort of talk about bringing the idea that when we have a relationship with someone and we are with them all the time or a lot, that we tend to fall into a cycle with that person. And sometimes it's a positive cycle. Sometimes it's really good, and that, you know, you kind of like we have. You kind of like just go with each other and everything is really good and positive and happy all the time. But sometimes when we get even closer with each other, we tend to fall into patterns that don't serve us personally, don't serve that individual, and definitely don't serve the relationship as a whole.
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
So relationship is like including the partners, the children in your family, the people you work with, or the teachers, maybe the children and the teachers, like any relationship that is involved. And so it's really about patterns, understanding the patterns. And then when there is something negative about the relationship or something that got triggered, it's like what is that? Is there something that in the past arrived and then you just repeating the cycle again?
Yeah, there's a saying. It says, "Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy?" And a lot of time where that saying comes from is because of those same cycles that we're repeating over and over again. We're trying to be right all the time, and sometimes it's better to just let things be or change the pattern with that individual so that cycle's not the same. One example that I like to use a lot, and I used it actually with kids. So I was in the junior high talking about a similar thing. And one of the things that I said to the kids is, if you go home and it's sort of this pattern of come home, mom is cranky maybe, sorry moms, and mom yells, then the kid reacts the same way every time. So they slam the door, or they cower in the corner, or they run away, or they yell back, right? Like, so every kid has a different pattern, but we tend to fall into that same thing. What if when kid came home and mom started yelling, what if the child said something like, hey mom, I really want to hear what you have to say, but I can't hear you while you're yelling at me. That would cause the mom to have a trigger, to have a moment of pause, which we have talked about so many times. Pause. And she might react in a different way. In fact, she probably would react in a different way. You could imagine like your 12-year-old or 13-year-old saying that to you. You would have to stop, because I mean, if they're calm in that moment, it would be such a big shift from your usual pattern.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So the fire doesn't fire more.
Yes, fire on fire and fire. Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, there are so many examples about how these patterns can affect you. Like another example from my view. So relationship is sometimes things that you got from the childhood and you observe and witness when you were a child and you observe the parents. Like I'm coming from very wild, also maybe wild.
I was waiting for that story.
wide background. So I'm all over the place, like from France and Asia and everything. So I have multiple cultural background, right? Yeah. Meaning that like from my Asian background, from my mom side, she's very like, she's been raised to be like very, like the woman has to be raised and feel like you do things, you don't say anything. If you swallow your emotion, when there is something bad, just like you don't feel good, that's okay, just swallow your emotion.
Right.
And she was raised like that because her mother was raised like that, and all the generations were raised like that. Yeah. So obviously she raised me like that. It's like, no, you don't have any say. You just have to do, and then that's it. But then when I met my husband, and I was like, no, I'm not saying anything. It's like, no, you have to speak out. What's happening to you? So I was in the cycle because I was raised to do the same. And then, so I had to break the cycle, and he helped me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like, he helped me like break the pattern of like being in a loop. Like, no, you just have to go through whatever challenges you have and swallow whatever. When you don't feel good, that's okay. Just like deal with that.
Yeah.
And you don't have to suffer because you're suffering from that. So I had to break that pattern. So then I don't repeat that with my daughter either. So we're in the phase where now with my work, I do more emotional intelligence to really recognize emotion. Where does it come from? So I witnessed my mother shut it down. So then I was shutting down until the point where I'm like, oh, no, stop. So the cycle stopped.
Yeah.
That is not that easy.
No, it's never easy, you guys. We want you to know that. You know, we do these videos and they're kind of short, and we're sort of giving these ideas. We understand that this is all with work, right? So, and we want you to understand that none of this is overnight. This is all with work. There's always going to be, there's always going to be work. And especially when it is an inherited cycle. And I think that we can look at, you know, you're talking culturally, but even generationally, right? And so what you're saying is so important, is that we recognize the cycles that are not serving us and don't make us happy, and make sure that we're not passing those down to another generation to pass them down to another generation. You know, at some point we have to put a stop to it. Especially when it's a negative as well.
Yeah. When you feel bad about something in the relationship, it's like, okay, why is that? Like, go back. Yeah. Because it's like, why is that? Is there something that is in my mind, like recording in the subconscious at some point in your life? So go back in the video, and then you're reproducing the cycle, or the opposite of what you observe. Sometimes it's the opposite, like a lack of something that you had, and you're still reproducing the cycle, but in the opposite.
Right. Exactly.
Like, as another example, so one of my family members was raised with no father in the picture because they divorced and blah blah blah. That's me. And so the man was always was recording in some ways, interpreting that, okay, the father was absent, and then now he got married, and then he's doing everything to like put back the male figure in the family. So it's like he has to do many things because he missed that. Yeah. So this is still a cycle. So the opposite.
But in that way, it was a positive effect, right? Because he's contributing
at
more.
Some point, because he's just trying to get way more than can absorb.
Too much.
That's too much. So it's like really the opposite. So it's good in a way. Yeah. But in some part, it's like way too much. Like just like should get more balance with his wife.
You're gonna find that balance, And so think about that. You know, sort of as a homework piece. Is like, if you just look at it, just choose one relationship, one that you know is sort of having some struggles right now, and then think about, again, we want to always come back to you specifically, because we can't change other people, and we're not trying to, but what can you do? What is your effect on that relationship? And then what could you do to switch even just one cycle? You know, I talk about husbands and wives a lot, because I do coach a lot of women, and we talk about their husbands all the time. And so a lot of times what we realize, or what we come to see, is that sometimes the things that they are wanting from their husband, they are actually blocking the husband's ability to do that thing because of their own cycle. And so we have to sort of recognize that if, let's just do something simple, like I want my husband to load the dishwasher, okay? Or I want him to do laundry, okay? So like house chores is something that I hear a lot from women, that they complain their husband doesn't do enough chores around the house. But from the perspective of, hey, he did the chore and then you complained because he didn't do it right or your way or correctly, why would he want to do it again? So the cycle that you've created of him not doing those things is actually come from a place of he tried, but then his ego was hurt by you, and therefore, why would he try again? And if you look at it from a perspective, if that was you, you would feel the same way. So just think about one thing, like that's just one example, and it's a very simple example, but think about one thing and do one change at a time. You're not going to fix or change or adjust your entire relationship overnight, but think about one item that is sort of driving you crazy or has become a deal breaker for you maybe, and then see what you can do, just you can do to affect change in that cycle. That's your homework.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
We're going to do it too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Totally. Yeah, it's like the idea is really to improve the way you feel by breaking that pattern, so that you can recognize and then progress and grow from that.
Yeah, definitely.
And there are so many examples, and I think there's one part we could do about like the relationship that you have with your child, because there are many things that you reproduce from the childhood or the things that you heard, and then sometimes you don't recognize, and the child sometimes is mirroring something that you have in yourself, and you don't understand. It's like, what's happening? And sharing. So I think we should do a whole video about just the relationship with your child.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, for sure we will.
Yeah.
So for this one, you guys, you have some homework now. What we want you to do is once you've started to implement that homework, comment on this video so that we can see the progress that you've made in the relationships in your life. And take some steps and ask us questions. We always want questions.
Yes.
Subscribe, like, share, all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We're here for you.
We're totally here for you, and we really want to hear from you. We really
Yes.
do. So thanks, guys.
Thank
See you
you.
next time.
Bye.
Bye.